Calling the Morton Grove Public Library Board of Trustees regular meeting being held in the Baxter Auditorium on February 12th at 7 o'clock to order. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're very patriotic today.
That's all.
Oh, will you play secretary?
It's all balls.
Oh, you're,
Treasures we don't have.
I told you I'm losing it.
Sometimes I just see right.
Would you play secretary and call the roll, please?
I'm not a secretary, but I can play one on TV. Okay. Trustee Elbers, not here. Trustee Berg.
On this 206th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, I'm here.
What do you think, you're in Congress now?
Something different today.
You're right.
He's 206 today.
Somebody was
Trustee Kellerman.
I'm here.
Trustee Goldstein.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Here.
Trustee Novick.
Here.
Trustee Peters is here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. The first thing on the agenda is the minutes of the trustee meeting of January 15th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
Is there any comments, changes, questions?
There's one, on the adjournment, in the last paragraph, you have absent Gonzalez, she was here.
That's true. Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that.
That's good art.
Okay.
You're getting good at this.
She's here at the beginning, but then she disappeared.
Right, I noticed that too, I was gonna say, but you know what?
She took a break.
I didn't leave,
Do you remember leaving early?
You left before the end. I'm done.
Don't remember, huh?
I don't remember.
It's called Speedy Gonzales.
If there's,
That's okay, I'm used to it, Dave, don't worry about it.
you've now been filmed, I just want you to know that.
I don't
I think it's very clever.
Very good. Are we through? Yeah, the vote is with the correction. Approval with corrections.
Trustee Elbers, Sampson, Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Kellerman.
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Novick.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain because I was not here, so. Okay, motion is passed.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on agenda items? Public comments? None? Okay. President's report, I have none. I think this is gonna go fast. Committee reports, Finance Committee. Deborah, would you please speak to the finances?
Sure, Finance Committee did not meet, Mark was called away suddenly. However, let me replace your income statements. They didn't print all the accounts, so please hand back.
They're corrected
Hand back the
statements.
one you have and take it corrected.
I have the new ones here.
The one I handed you is the one.
Yeah, this is the new one.
Right, but let's see. It's confusing. Yeah, that one. You keep that one, and give it that one.
Yeah, right, it doesn't make any sense, it's got zeros,
It's
where
zeros,
there should be
yeah.
zeros. And besides that, we have,
Really good question.
thank you.
Oh, both of them?
No, the 2014 is fine, it's for 2015 that's the problem. For 2015, we're splitting some of the accounts on the second page. You can see where there's a -01. Those will be, when that,
-1.
or -1, excuse me, those will be when that fund is being used for the building across the street. And right now, the money in those funds is zero until we amend the budget, and then we'll actually put some money in those accounts. So after the amended budget tonight, we'll update this, but that's what this is ready for, so. everything else now should make sense.
Does anybody
This is
have
double,
questions?
the permits and applications, those is double entered.
No?
One is 01.
Right.
They're all double because 01 is.
One is for this building and one's for the other building.
Why is
Right.
there, oh, was there a permit for this?
Actually, the permit for this building is getting wrapped, well, there is a permit for this building in January, but it's getting wrapped into Frontier's cost, so it may not show up here. But in case we need it, this one, this is the special use permit. Oh, that was actually paid last year too. Whatever comes up, we have given it an extra column.
In case it comes up.
Okay, I was just, I didn't care about the extra column, what I was saying was there's this number here.
That's the budget that's unused. That's the.
But isn't this the real, the big building and this the little building?
Yeah.
So the big building should, does it have, should it have money in that account?
It's,
See what I'm
it's
saying?
got a small amount in them right now, yeah. But nothing's been,
If we get to any, if by
we'll
some
be adding to
chance.
all of them. I put a small amount in each one in order to get it to show. It wouldn't show
Oh,
at
I
all.
see, I understand.
It wouldn't show
Okay.
up at all if
It's
it has something in
Just
it.
a placeholder.
Yes.
Are these always gonna be with the -1 after it? So we, or are you?
In
gonna
order
put
to track the other building's expenses, we put the -1.
So it'll always be that way though, even though there's nothing in all these accounts?
There will be after, we're doing a change in
Yeah.
budget at the end of this meeting.
Because, you know,
We're
they
doing a
has.
budget change at the end of the meeting, then there will be numbers applied to these.
Oh,
Dash
okay,
ones.
okay.
We didn't budget for it.
Mhm, okay.
It's all part of the same budget, but this way we can track it.
Mhm.
So, if that makes sense.
Is there any questions about anything else on the finance report?
We've already received some tax receipts. It's less than 0.5% of the total amount.
Oh, this is just for January.
Correct. That's all we've had so far.
And we haven't had February yet.
Yep.
It may
And-
seem like we're having it, but
Okay, but, so this is a,
That check came in January. It's really 2014's tax revenue, but since we do a cash basis
Oh, okay.
accounting system for the income statement. So that much we've received, we really haven't received.
I looked at it wrong. I thought, why aren't these two the same, but they are the same. Okay,
Okay.
makes sense.
okay. Any other questions? If not, can I hear a motion to approve the finance?
Make a motion to
Well, is there any? Okay.
Second.
Motion, okay.
Will you call the question?
I have a question, so
Oh,
since
okay.
there's a motion, I'll ask a question.
Okay.
Finance report. The only other question is, do you have anything more in your report about the investments or anything being moved out of PMA? Or good things?
As they come due, we're moving them over. So this was the end of January. If you'll notice on the statement, under maturity dates, there were two funds that came, that matured February 3rd and February 9th. Those have since been transferred and they'll show up on February's report in the March meeting. So as these mature, and if you look at the maturity dates in the column that says maturity, the funds, I asked him to transfer them into our operating account, and we're gonna be voting on that budget tonight, so that we can use those funds to pay Frontier's bills. So that's on the agenda for
Excellent.
later.
Good. And we're doing okay with that.
Yep.
Great.
We haven't broken the bank yet. We're
Yeah.
trying, but you know.
All right. I don't have any other questions. You want me to
Okay.
call?
Yes, please.
Okay. Trustee Burke,
Yes.
trustee Calhoun,
Yes.
trustee Goldstein,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Novick.
Yes.
Trustee Peters is a yes, motion passes.
Okay, do you want to do facilities, an update now, or do you want to do it?
I will do an update if that's okay. We had,
We didn't have a facilities meeting this month.
It was
Right.
canceled at the last minute, so.
Yeah, so Deborah held her, whatever's going on till this meeting.
I can, and honestly, things change every day, so it's good to have a last minute update anyway. But a couple of the most important things, the roof is completely done, and that contract is being closed. And, you know, there were some change orders in order to bump it up for the ramp as part of the second phase. But even so, we came in over $15,000 under budget. So from that contract, yes, I was glad about that. From that contract, $15,000 will be credited back to the library. For the current contract, you know, it was a $902,000 contract for the rest of the construction. That had a $100,000 contingency in it and $30,000 for glass. The glass has come in at $28,399, so there's a credit there. And there have been a couple of small change orders. Control joints in the drywall was $1,730. Sprinkler heads requested by the village was $15,477, but there was still over $82,000, actually over $83,000 left in the contingency money in that contract. And when the village asked us therefore to do the bathrooms, I went back to them and said, you know, we can't do another bid, but can we fit that into this contract as a change order? The initial guesstimate was around $50,000. It's probably going to be even less, so we're not going to have any trouble doing the bathrooms in this contract and still have some
Don't you
money for
love it?
other things that are going to happen.
This is wonderful.
Don't you just love it?
So unless they find something else between now and then.
I'm sorry?
That's good.
That's
Yeah,
fabulous.
this was a big.
It's really amazing how it's been, in spite of all these confusions, it's been working, and I gotta give this woman credit.
Yeah, I do too.
A lot of numbers. And there may be a couple
Isn't
other
that why you
minor
became a
change orders.
librarian, so you can work with numbers?
No, that's, you know what, I'll mention that in a minute, but let me stick to what we're doing over there first. The sprinklers set us back a couple weeks. Bill Porter had asked us to do more as well to the entire fire alarm system, including some things in other parts of the building. Those parts are on order. We can't do the drywall and the ceiling until all the sprinkler heads are in. So that was a bit of a delay, but we worked out our scheduling to move some things around so that we are actually carpeting under the mezzanine tomorrow, which we were afraid, they initially wanted to wait until all the ceilings were done. The ceiling under the mezzanine is done. The lights are gonna be another few weeks, but they decided they could put the lights in later without a problem. So we are on schedule with the carpeting. We're delayed in a couple other ways. So we're looking at early April, maybe mid-April to actually open the library. We are scheduling our grand reopening celebration for May 15th, so mark your calendars. That's tentative, but pretty sure that's what we're going to do. It's a Friday, it'll be like 4 to 8 o'clock. We plan to have a ribbon cutting ceremony and dedication around 6 o'clock when the library first closes. Before we close in the afternoon, there'll be music and crafts and raffles and fun things, and then later in the evening, there'll be a concert. So this is all in the works, but mark your calendars for May 15th. We will hopefully be done with everything by then. A couple other things that are going on. I did write a Live and Learn construction grant for this room, and that would be the ramp, a curtain, new carpet in here. The biggest cost would be, no, excuse me, not a ramp, a lift. And the biggest cost would be the construction and placement of a lift. That grant will be announced February 26th, I believe is the date, and I was going to watch it remotely, but it was recommended that I be there in person. I guess you have a better chance of getting them. So I will be in Springfield on February 26th, crossing my fingers that we get the grant, which would pay about 50% of the cost. It's a matching grant through the federal money through the state library. So that's coming up for this room, working on some other possibilities for other projects down the road. So we're doing carpeting tomorrow. Next Tuesday, Pallet Movers will be constructing shelving under the mezzanine. After they spend 2 or 3 days moving shelves, constructing shelves, and then getting all of the shelving out of the rest of the building, the library staff will be putting books on those shelves so that now the rest of the library is empty so that they can do carpeting and sealing in the parts that are right now full of books. So we're kind of doing this shifting schedule thing, but that's all planned out and happening. Not exactly on schedule, but it could be a lot further behind than it is, so I'm not unhappy about that at all. Any questions about where we are?
Deborah, there's something on the internet, on the library, that says we won't be open until the end of, is it toward the end of spring?
It should just say spring. I'll have to look that up, because no, we'll
Yeah, I
we'll
thought
be
it
open.
just
by-
said spring, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, it might have said end of March at one point, now we're looking at early April.
That's fine, right?
Yeah, but yeah, we'll be open. It won't be the end of spring. I forgot what it was. I'll look back. Any other questions? Okay, that's where we are with the, oh, facilities also across the street? Is that something I want to mention now? No, that's later, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave say that for later.
Hold it,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Policy committee,
I wasn't here, so.
Hardly, yeah, but it's,
Okay.
I'll ask
Very
Carter.
thorough going over. We did the privacy policy, the proctoring policy, and the public posting policy.
And then,
And we covered all of that. And we did the one-line addition to the Internet and Technology Plans. So everything is available for you to see. And it's all done.
Proctoring is new here. We had, proctoring has been going on in the children's department without an official policy in place. It has pretty much been just done by one of our staff that happens to be a teacher for homeschool students. But many libraries proctor for college students that are taking distance learning courses, and we have started to get requests, so we felt it was time to have a policy in place with procedures in place in order to accommodate that and still protect our staff from being over-asked.
do we have a
So,
room?
It doesn't have to be in a private room, and that's what our policy is stating, is our staff will put them in a public area on a table with line of sight of the reference desk, and we won't be watching them at every minute. We can't spare the staff to do that, but it does usually meet the requirements. Jeff Ray has a lot of experience proctoring in his previous job, so we put him in charge of writing the procedures for this for the staff to follow, and it is a very good service to offer.
There's a maximum of 3 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if we couldn't, if the committee didn't feel there was any reason to change any words at all in what was presented.
Yeah, I just wasn't familiar with the service. I didn't
So
know.
if everybody read their material or don't have any questions, we can vote for all 4 at the same time. You want to make a motion for that?
I make a motion that we do policies on the review and adoption of 4 major things. Should I detail?
Just give the names.
Okay, the privacy policy, public posting policy, proctoring policy, and review and adoption of the line added to the Internet and Technology policy.
That's good. Second, please.
I second
Any further questions, discussion? If not, we call the vote. Thank you.
Trustee Callender?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Novick?
Yes.
Trustee Peters, yes. Trustee Burr? Motion passes.
Okay. Director report.
You have the director's report in front of you. We were closed for the very beginning of the month, which, did affect our numbers even a little bit more. But we did reopen the Baxter Room, which has allowed us to get our full complement programming back happening, which is really good. We have one new employee, Elizabeth DeVito, who has joined us in youth services, and Mihar was promoted from a shepherd to a clerk. There's not too much else that I want to point out. I did give my concert in January.
It was very good.
Very well received.
Thank you. That seems like a long time ago now.
Does it?
It was January.
What do you prep? So,
Any questions about my report?
does anybody? Okay. Corporate counsel, do you have anything you would like to say today?
I do have a couple of things for you.
put together a resolution for the adoption of the amendment of the budget. So you have that, we're gonna have that before you.
Let's do that under new business.
Okay, so.
Well, you didn't
No,
have it done. You
I didn't have it done in time.
I pushed down, I did.
She did. But why don't you can take one and read it and pass it down.
I've got them all here,
Oh,
so
you
let
do,
me
okay.
keep one passing around. This is the budget one, this is the one that you wrote to. And you had to put a number on this one, so we just put in two on.
Okay, and I wasn't sure if Billy wrote the numbering this year yet, so
This
I
was
thought
the
it would be
beginning.
the first two, so.
Yes, it is.
So essentially, all this is two resolutions, one to amend your budget in the two respects that were in the summary that were in the board packet. And then the other resolution is authorizing the library to enter into the loan agreement with Lending Financial Bank with a line of credit for
Which right now, it doesn't really look like we're gonna
Well,
whack into it, or will we eventually?
it wouldn't be needed to pay the bills ultimately, but it may be needed till all the funds are available.
flow.
To flow, because they're tied up in CDs that don't all mature in time. And I do have a couple of hefty bills
So
waiting
it
to be
depends how the
paid.
tax money comes.
Exactly, that's
Got it.
exactly right.
In the one thing I will point out, well, I forgot if you want, or I can talk about it.
About,
Well, just the one thing that I do want to point out, on the line of credit, you know, when you put a mortgage on your facility, the money that you borrow on that line of credit can only be used for your remodeling, construction, renovation of your library facilities. You can't use it for general operating expenses or something.
So we don't want to
Just
use
one
our
point.
operating expenses until we know that we are cut.
Exactly, so you use the float with your line of credit, and then when you are in a position that you want to pay it down or whatever with your general operating funds, you use your line of credit to pay your monthly
Right.
invoices for the construction that you get, and then when you get the cash from the taxes and
Pay
you
down.
feel comfortable, you feel comfortable, you can pay it down. It's security to have it.
Now, I did get a call, actually a visit from the two MD financial representatives asking for, they said they're gonna call you, they're looking for our articles of incorporation, which we don't seem to have.
They are, and we wouldn't have articles of incorporation because I don't believe we're a
Not a
corporation.
corporation.
Right.
We're a,
Some kind of formation documents they're needing.
And yes, and that was one of the things that I did want to talk to you about, because I'm not sure where they would be, and other than in the historical room, maybe.
I don't think they.
Because the library would have been organized, I'm presuming, pursuant to the statute, it would have been organized with some type of a referendum. Do you want to organize a library,
Does
right?
the state library have a record of that? Or does the
Well,
state?
we can find out.
Okay.
We can find out. But they are trying to figure out, okay, well, you're not a corporation, what exactly are you? And
Does
so,
the employer count as that because you're not
That's our
exactly
annual
a
report.
library unless you have that report filed? So I'm wondering, would that serve as?
Well, that's our annual report. They also have an unusual name on file for us.
yes, I believe from the best I can tell, and I'm going to ask the title company for some information. The best I can tell is when the deed was issued for this building in 61, the library, the board of directors of the board of library directors of the Village of Morton Grove, as opposed to the board of library trustees.
But they still, as part of the name of the library, it's not the Morton Grove Public Library, it's the Board of Library Directors of Village of Morton Grove. That's the name of the library. Isn't that weird?
I'm glad it got changed.
Well, actually, well, no, what it is if you, we took title to 6,200, and I was trying to figure out, okay, you know, how do we take title to this? Do we take title as Warrenville Public Library? Do we take title as the Board of Library Trustees? And in the statute, it seems to me that it should be titled Board of Library Trustees.
Okay.
Would be the title holders.
Title
because-
holders.
Yeah, title holders of the real estate, but it is for the library.
Trustees are sponsored.
Well, the Board of Trustees as in their official capacity, yeah.
They are.
We are.
They are.
But you are, I mean, you are
But he
responsible.
wanted the actual legal
I'm-
name
I'm
of
your
the
responsible.
library.
Right.
That had Board of Trustees in it,
Yes.
and it does. Okay, so the legal
Or
name
Board of
of the
Directors.
library,
Well, no, the legal name of the library is Thornborough Public Library.
he couldn't find that. That's not what he, so he needs to
But
address
they-
that as well.
Yes, and I'm dealing with
Okay.
Debbie on that. She-
Oh,
you know,
okay.
She and I have talked a couple times about that, and I've told her what I'm putting together what I'm going to send her. But I do want to get from the title company that deed, because it may be that deed needs to be corrected to change directors, because under the statute, it's trustees, it's not directors. You know, and the one that I got off of the internet or from I shouldn't say the internet, but from the recorder's website, that had the legal description of this building, that was a release of a mortgage, and that mortgage released the Board of Library Trustees, not the Board of Library Directors. So clearly, wherever they got the directors is wrong,
Okay.
but it's not a problem.
Okay.
We can do that correction, we could just change the name, re-record the deed, and it's all fine.
I have a question about this line of credit resolution. Should there be a stop date on it?
I didn't know what your term was.
I think it's 10 years, but it might be 5. I actually don't remember, it's been so long since we.
But the resolution is to authorize the line of credit, and then the promissory note will have the term in it.
But does this make a standing ability for whenever the library feels like to take out $750,000?
No, this is for this particular transaction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see the stop. It doesn't have to be.
No, you wouldn't have a stop on it because it's, you know, I don't have, we don't have loan documents, so I couldn't say authorize, and it was my understanding we wanted to get this done
Yeah, it's taken a long
tonight. But the only terms of the loan that I had were
And
$750,000.
we actually voted on this a few months
Oh,
ago.
no, that's fine. No, what I'm saying is,
I know what you mean, I mean,
is
it
it
doesn't
only
incorporate.
limited? Right, it doesn't limit.
It's this transaction, the one, when the mortgage is signed for the line of credit for this transaction, then this resolution is effective. And there's,
Can't
if
use
you
it
wanted
again.
another loan, you'd have to do another resolution.
That's what I
To
wanted to
something
make sure,
died.
that there was that this died when the loan was paid off.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't die, it's just that it's become fully accomplished, is really what happens. But in other words, it can't be used to sign another line of credit.
That's what I,
Yes, that's correct. The only other thing we did is, we were already loaded for bear for the fight over the permits, and then we didn't have to go to battle on that. For some reason, the permit appeared.
Yeah, they actually did provide the permit without promising to do the bathrooms, but then we're able to do them, so everything came together.
We had come up with a way
Oh,
to
okay.
show that you wouldn't have to do the bathrooms. But if you could do it,
Hold on, we may need it
don't
yet for
pick a
this room.
fight if you don't
We
need to.
we may need it yet for
We
this
wanted
room.
to do the bathrooms,
With the
so
lifts.
that was a good thing.
yeah. So good, it all worked out well.
It did, it worked out very
And
well.
that's all I have for today.
We do have to vote on these.
So we need a motion.
Separately?
This was the.
Do it separate.
Okay.
Unfinished business.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2015-1, amending the 2015 budget.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion, questions, or if not, do you want to call them?
Right, so we passed. Okay. Trustee Goldstein?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Peters, yes. Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Motion passes. I move that we approve resolution 2015-3, approve a line of credit with Denver Financial Bank.
I'll second
And
that.
hard to second it. Just get hard to second it. Any discussion? If not, call the vote.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Novick?
Yes.
Trustee Peters, yes. Trustee Berg?
Yes.
Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Goldstein?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
And then just, if I may, I'm gonna need, I brought a couple extra copies, I'm gonna need one,
Signed?
yeah.
And it's, is it
Yeah.
Ann, there's
So we got-
Kathy that signs those?
We got the.
I sign it and
so,
Kathy
Yeah,
signs
Barb and
it.
Kathy, and then Kathy will sign on the certification.
We have those already.
Yes.
I have to, and she's got extra copies too for that, so. Do you want to bring those over?
If you want, yeah, whatever you want.
Would you give those to Frank? We've got a lot of copies, so.
This one has the two just written in, maybe the
Yes.
one that Blanche gave you had.
And I think they're all just.
They're all-
Yeah, they all have the
Okay.
two, they all have the two just written in.
Oh, we need to sign 2 copies of
And then
it?
the vote was
6-1
601.
absent, right.
And just if you sign two, I'll be able to take one with me and
So we can file them.
you can have it in files.
I didn't put the 601 on the
Oh,
first
oh.
copy. I did put it on the second.
Okay. I don't mean to interrupt the meeting.
So these are just extras,
Those are, yeah, those are the budget one.
but they're all the extras, not the signed one.
Those aren't signed. Barb's got the signed one of number 2, but we haven't signed number 1
Oh,
yet.
we haven't signed this one?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
sorry.
haven't signed.
So these are ones to sign.
Who gets number 2? You get both of them. No, Deborah gets,
The original.
And these are, do you need all of these copies signed?
no, just 2.
I think if you do 2, you're fine. And I have what I need, because for the closing on the loan, we need to provide, the proof that,
Here's your copy.
this is what, so that's the original number 1.
Okay.
And you have an
And I've
original
got
number
this.
2. Yeah. Just confused.
And this is your. Okay. Is there any unfinished business that somebody has, anybody has? If not, new business, we just took care of the resolution.
A quick update on the special use application.
Yeah, I was gonna, if you, did everybody have a chance to get on their computers today? Deborah sent us the copy of the memo that goes to the planning committee and covering up, as a cover letter to everything that she's prepared for getting the special permit. The meeting happens to be this coming Monday. If anybody can be there, I think it would be a nice show of support, thank you. It's at the Village Hall, it's at 7 o'clock?
7:30.
7:30.
When is it? Monday?
Monday at
To
7:30.
back up, I already did.
However, I was gonna go
go backwards to what we already did.
Yeah, I was gonna go forward and then backward.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to the board as a whole, that will be, probably the first reading will be on March 9th, assuming that the planning committee puts us through. I'm gonna let Deborah tell you what happened at the first commission meeting we were at, which was on the traffic.
We took my traffic study to the traffic
If
commission.
anybody hasn't seen it, here's a copy of it.
That was last Thursday, and I gave a little talk about why we built the building, or why we bought the building and how we got to that point. They had a number of questions. They did go forward with a couple of minor stipulations, trimming shrubbery, putting some signage for pedestrians. They did count the parking a little bit different than I did, because I had counted some public spaces around the library, which we're not allowed to count. But they still felt that with a couple of stipulations that we could move forward. So that was a successful evening. I felt good about it. And then this is a result of that, with some of their comments, plus summaries of all of the application process I've gone through so far, that's going to be used for Monday night. Monday night, that all of the public that live within 250 feet of the building are invited to come and discuss the impact it will have on their life, basically.
We gotta tell you, they don't know how to measure. You all know where I live. I live at the far south end of
Yes.
Woodlands. I got one of those letters.
That's not 250.
It's 250 feet just to the
Yeah.
elevator of the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
Well,
Let
I think
alone the
the
fact that
complex,
there's
maybe.
3 condos in front of
They
me.
probably just used it as the Woodlands.
Yeah.
It just, wasteful.
So a lot of people got the letter, so we'll see if people actually come or not.
I can't imagine anybody would show up unless,
I can't believe we're having a meeting on a holiday.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Monday's a holiday?
yeah,
President's
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 Day.
Day.
The 16th? Oh,
Mhm.
that's a good
Schools are
point.
not in session.
I wonder if
So maybe
they'll,
they'll all stay home.
gee, then it'll pass by
So they didn't
absence.
accept these number of spaces.
with slightly alternate, I can't count those.
It's explained in the other, in the
Yeah.
memo that she sent out today.
Deborah's apparently starting a side business with a traffic consultant.
Yeah, if I ever
She's got her whole staff learning how to do the count.
67, you know.
We'll read their summary.
You know what those guys get paid? You could bring
We
in a lot of side money.
found
for
out
us.
what those guys get paid.
Yeah, we did, actually, that's why I
And
did
that's
it.
why we have a librarian count. And since librarians do everything, they could count.
Actually, the reason we did it ourselves is because especially we were closed part of the month and we're half closed with the big floor, our own traffic is not normal. So a traditional traffic study would have had, at best, weak data. I mean, it wouldn't have told them anything really valid about the changes. So what I did is a study that demonstrates what our foot traffic has been for the past 2 years and what kind of parking needs we have generated over the past 2 years, and the fact that this isn't going to change it very much. So that's really what my study shows, is that we actually do have enough parking for what's going on here.
It's very professional.
It's a real class act. You would never know it wasn't done by a professional. It was done by a professional, just the wrong profession. Told you I would get you. See, I owed her one
She
day.
did.
She
just got me.
really got me the other day, and that was,
Accident.
yeah, so was this.
Anyway, that's my, I'm good with that.
Okay, so if anybody could come Monday, that would be wonderful, but the more important one to come to probably will be March 9th, which is when it goes to the board as a whole. Deborah will not be able to be there, but they don't expect any presentation. The presentation's done by the planning commission at that. It would be nice if some of us were there, just if the questions do come up,
We will ask
and we will have somebody there, and there'll be at least 1 or 2 staff people there too.
Is that one at 7:30 also?
That meeting's at 7 o'clock,
The
but
meetings are March 9th.
March 9th is the regular village
first
board
reading,
meeting.
and
That's the
February
first meeting
16th.
between now
Second
and.
reading is the 2 weeks later, that will be done.
Okay.
And that's
We
the
have
other
one
thing.
meeting.
February 16th, Monday.
Plan commission
And February
chairperson.
16th.
gives the presentation.
She's been there for a while.
Oh, you have been, okay, I'm
Well,
sorry.
no, not exactly.
Well,
They're both at
he
7:30?
goes through the
No,
whole
one's-
explanation
first one's at
and why they
7:30,
thought what they thought.
And the second one at 7:30.
And we'll come out hopefully
Either they're
at the
gonna
end.
recommend it or they're
If
not.
they're not gonna recommend it, we won't get to the
We'll
board.
get there, okay.
If they're not going to recommend it, I think they'll come back to you and say, you know, what, can you change this or
Okay.
that? And
Yeah.
submit it there.
So that's where that's at.
So there are absolutely no holdups on any of
I will be at both of those, so if
So
you're,
far, no.
you know, just so you know.
Our own cost maybe, but.
There'll be an email on that also.
Yeah.
About the ninth? Or,
Yes.
well, after Monday, if you aren't able to be there, I'll definitely send out a summary of what happens.
Yeah, I think the 9th is actually more important
Well.
for
if
to
that's-
show the
that's-
strength
Oh, yeah, okay.
of the board. I would say, maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to imagine what their thinking is, but it's hard.
There's only 6.
As for use of the building,
On the side?
we're looking at
Oh, I'm not looking
the
at
cost of the sprinkler system right now. I have some bids, requests for bids out there, requests for quotes out there, and I'll be coming to the next meeting with information on the sprinkler system for the building and just what that would involve, because we know that we have to do that. for the community building as well.
Probably right.
So I don't have any
I don't know
idea.
how else you can reconfigure it.
Anything
6
else about the new building?
Or compact cars only.
Any questions about the new building at this point? If not, we're through with new business unless somebody else has new business. If, were there any communications? Did anybody ball us out for being closed?
No, one person called and was concerned that she wasn't going to get to use the internet, and I pointed her to another library, and I think she was okay. I do have some articles to pass out, a couple of comments, some children's letters that enjoyed some programming that was done, so it's a fun thing to do.
Okay, are there any public comments on non-agenda items?
I just thought I'd introduce myself. I'm Stephanie Gray, and my name is on the ballot in April for the open position.
And she's currently the only candidate, the other candidate withdrew.
He did. Very nice man. We spoke before he took his name off. So, yeah, it's just me, I guess, so.
Well, I guess congratulations.
Congratulations and good luck.
We haven't even finished the primary yet.
Don't spend a lot of money on campaign.
I have a Facebook
Don't
page if
need
anybody
lawn
wants to like me.
signs, you don't need to do any mailings.
Yes, no, I don't plan on
You're-
it,
But
so.
if you have a coffee station, you know,
Yeah, but if you have a coffee for us, we'd
Oh,
come.
okay.
if there's food.
What would be nice is if you would leave with Deborah your address and phone number so we have a way to reach you
I can do that.
after the official vote is,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
Dave?
Email, that kind of thing.
Ray, G-R-A-Y.
Yes, with an A, yeah.
GRA.
I'm sorry, your first name?
Stephanie.
Steph.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I have one comment regarding something they brought up the last time.
Please make a comment.
We're saying that we had a $300 fee assessed by the village to us for, as a business.
Oh, there's a new annual
Annual.
right to be
Exist.
right to exist, right to be open, whatever business tax now that even nonprofits and libraries have to pay, and we have to display the sign that we paid it, yes.
Who is
Is
this
this a-
from? Is this from the village?
Is this from the village?
Very glad. Yeah.
Another reason to vote in the primary, folks.
Because I had mentioned this to a couple other businesses and they weren't really aware of it. They said there's a business license that they have to pay every year.
We have a business here in Morton Grove, and we just had to pay our regular
Well,
licensing
I'll
fee.
show you that outside of the meeting time, but we
Sure.
did receive a bill and a certificate to post, et cetera, so. We haven't had a business license fee before, so
I
maybe
think
it's
they
just new.
cranked us.
I would think that a business is something that generates a profit or a loss.
We're at a
Or
loss.
isn't part of the village itself?
Yeah,
Is
we're-
that a business?
We are
I
a
mean,
part of it.
Are we not a part of the village?
Not a
Tangentially.
Can we, I wouldn't pay it.
I'm sorry, we already did, but.
Yeah, what are they gonna do, close us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I really think that's a waste of, that's worth fighting for.
Well, did they pay
Why
for
did
their
they
business?
assess us that much? I mean,
You have to go see.
Even at all.
Even
Yeah,
at all?
even at all.
What?
Posted.
I think we should protest it next year. I really do.
Okay, noted, we'll remember that.
Let's recoup the money back. Where did we give the money?
Well, we should, I don't.
We could always stop payment on the check, too.
Okay.
Until we find it out. I think
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
It is really.
For the village
It is ridiculous.
to assess another part of the
Part of
village
it.
a fee because they spend too much money? I mean, what's that all about?
We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be getting.
I said, well, I'll be $300, but what? They give you
Okay,
300
that's
one year, it's gonna
no.
be 400 next year.
I know, I understand what you're saying.
That's the point of it.
Let's,
The other parts
let's
of the
check this out
village also-
outside the meeting.
I don't know, we'll look into it.
I have to pay my water bill tomorrow morning. I will go snooping around the village.
Please do.
Well, the nice thing is they didn't recommend against your.
No, they
Yeah,
didn't.
right.
They didn't,
So-
right.
What do you use the water?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, how about if after the construction's done, we look into it?
Thank you.
You don't have to pay twice though.
No.
For each bill, one for each bill.
Oh, that'll be next year's.
It's all one
It's all one.
entity.
We have one budget for both.
Yeah, one set of employees and
Okay.
so.
What service do we get?
There's no call for an executive session, so I move will somebody move to adjourn the meeting.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
The meeting was adjourned at
She hasn't
7:47.
finished it yet.